I saw Insomnia right when it first came out in the States in about '97, and I heard that Whit Thomas and Warner Brothers were going to do a remake. They had a script written by Hillary that was just tremendous and had really tapped into a lot of the things that I'd hoped an American remake of this film would.
One of the things about the movie that I like so much is the conceit that for the first part of a movie it's a whodunit, and it very quickly becomes a how and a why done it.
I think it has an incredibly compelling central situation that is very Hitchcockian, almost in an old-fashioned way.
It takes place in Alaska, in a fictional town called Nightmute. It's so far north that they have what's called white nights.
The sun doesn't set 24 hours a day, and his body clock, like a lot of people who go up there, not used to it, his body clock sort of wreaks havoc, and he's not able to sleep.
Like the dormer. Something wrong?
Well, it's so fucking bright in here. Yeah.
No, it's dark in here.
We wanted to make a very dark film that had ever-present light, which was an interesting idea to us, to sort of make a very dark film where the sun is basically always out and always sort of putting daylight, in the background of things.
The biggest challenge in a movie like this is creating the impression of fatigue and what it means to be tired without making the audience tired. And that's tricky, actually. I mean, you have to come up with some sort of interesting visual ways to suggest that state of mind without lulling people into some stupor.
I'm very interested in stories that take a very subjective point of view. You are experiencing a character's increasing struggle with his inner demons, and increasing struggle against his lack of sleep and his increasingly tense situation. I was very concerned to keep the audience in his head and really pull them through this descent with the main character. I was certainly nervous going to meet Al for the first time because, this is an icon. This is somebody with such an incredible history. But he makes you feel at ease right away.
He gives so much to his craft, and he is present in every moment.
It's all about small stuff. Small lies, small mistakes.
I've learned so much from him, just watching everything that he does and absorbing it, so it's kind of a parallel between what my character does with his character and me and with him, so it kind of works out perfectly.
We thought it would be very unusual and different for Robin to play the part of a killer, as opposed to he's really against type, not what you think of with Robin Williams.
I don't know if you can actually define Robin Williams.
I feel like I could be Peter Lorre, except, I never meant to do those things with her, but it would have been difficult to play like that the whole time.
Robin loves to hang around on set and joke and make the whole crew laugh.
Today we look for the tiny fish near the log jam.
Whereas Al is a more interior sort of process.
Yeah, it's Mr. Method versus Mr. Anything. But you find a way, though. Chris will tell you.
Whatever their different, working styles are, and that's one of the incredible things to me about working with these great actors, is to just see them approach their tasks from completely different directions, and yet interact in the most wonderfully constructive way.
It'd be like, two different styles of jazz, and then we'll both usually hit about the same. We'll both just go, bing, that's it, you'll find it.
Dormer here. Hello?
Can't sleep, Will? Me neither.
I think the phone calls are really fascinating. They're sort of the heart of the film in a way, because he has to listen to this guy even though he despises him, because he's hoping he's going to trip up and he's going to say something wrong. But Walter's pretty smart.
If you ask Mr. Dormer, he is a loner freak, shitty detective novel writer. If you ask Walter Finch, he's a victim of accidental provocation.
Otherwise engaged, another J. Brody mystery. Who reads this kind of crap?
Being a crime writer in Alaska is a bit like being the Amish tech rep. You're not going to get a lot of work. There's not going to be a lot to write about at that moment, except for, his own crime.
Did you keep the dress?
Dress?
Kay's dress. Her nail clippings. What'd you do with those things?
That's great. Dress. We could use that. I remember watching a documentary about Jeffrey Dahmer, And they asked him, he said, what did you store, when you started cutting up the bodies, what did you do? And he said, well, I stored them in a case exactly like that camera case right there. And you could see the interviewer go, okay, let's cut. That's it for today, thank you. We'll be right back with Cooking with Jeffrey, you know. And yeah, the creepier, the more normal and regular it seems, the creepier it is, because that's the way it is. To play it just as straight and regular and much like this, because people like that feel that they're not entitled, but that's how they function. And that's why it's been interesting to play with him. You know, so direct, and it is direct. There's no, I'm doing these evil things now. It's like, no, listen to me, talking like that.
I know this isn't easy for you, but I'm trying to get you to understand we're in the same situation here. You didn't mean to kill Hap any more than I meant to kill Kay.
It's not black and white. There is this gray going on constantly. A confusion, a doubt, a conscience being kind of tweaked and pushed back and forth, a man making a decision, going against his conscience, and in the end hoping that he can find his way back. That's what I think there'll be. And I think it's Al drawing, and from what I've seen him do, that he'll draw you into that. It'd be just like a memento in that way, that you'll be following a man's conscience and his mind deteriorating through guilt, through lack of sleep, through stress, all of these things working on him. And I think that's what'll be intriguing. I think that's what makes it interesting to watch.
It's not enough to set the straw man up and knock him down. It's not enough to just construct a simple scenario and then resolve it. It's in some ways it's as valid or more valid to raise difficult questions and acknowledge that they're not easy to answer, and that you can't, as a filmmaker, just wrap things up neatly and say, well, this is the solution to these things. The type of stories I'm interested in telling, they do have, I think, a slightly more messy approach to them in a way, a slightly more unsettling approach, perhaps. And people will ask me whether I know that the films I'm making are a little bit disturbing, or they get under the skin a little bit, or whatever. But as far as I'm concerned, if you're dealing with subject matter of people being killed and people murdering other people in arrest, it's entirely appropriate that these things should be somewhat unsettling. It should make you question various aspects of the characters surrounding these incidents. To me, that seems entirely logical and a very positive thing.